You're listening to the Life Upgrade Lab, home of the Fresh Start Files. I'm Julie Hernandez, pharmacist, life coach, and your partner in real-life growth experiments. Lab coats and gloves optional, glitter goggles encouraged. Let's grab our glitter goggles, friend. We'll open today's file and get started. What if the reason you keep trying to explain yourself over and over, or in other words, oversharing, isn't that you're too much? What if it's that somewhere along the way, your nervous system learned that more words equals more safety? Today, we're opening Fresh Start File number 11, the Oversharing Pattern. Welcome back to the Life Upgrade Lab, home of the Fresh Start Files, where we run faith-filled life experiments that actually create change. I'm Julie Hernandez, pharmacist and life coach, and today we're investigating a pattern that many people call oversharing or overexplaining, but might actually be something deeper. Glitter lab goggles on, let's investigate. Our case background, here's the pattern. It can sound like you thinking or saying to someone, I always feel like I say too much. I can't just answer a simple question with a simple answer. I feel like I have to explain everything or overly explain to get my point across. I get nervous if someone seems upset with me. I keep talking even when I know I should stop. Underneath that, sometimes there can be a fear that you don't even realize. It could be something like, if I'm not understood, I'll be rejected. If I don't explain myself well enough, I'll be blamed. If I stay small, maybe I'll be safe. If I give enough detail, they won't think badly of me. There could be others too. That is actually from previous experiences that you've gone through, and it's considered a survival pattern from your brain trying to protect you from whatever happened to you in the past. It also happened to me too. Let's look at the evidence review. It may be happening from the brain and the body. When someone has lived with criticism, unpredictability, emotional neglect, or unsafe relationships, our nervous system can become hyper alert. So instead of simply answering, the body goes into protection mode. Explain more, clarify more, justify more, keep talking, keep smoothing things over. That can be a fawn response. So if you've heard of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, yeah, fawn's the fourth one, and it's a people pleaser. And that's actually what I learned to do very well from the stuff that I had gone through in my childhood. So it's an instinct to reduce conflict by pleasing, appeasing, or managing someone else's reaction. And the fallacy is we can't manage other people's reactions, but we try hard with the explaining that we do. From a coaching lens, oversharing often isn't about lack of self-control. It's about a lack of feeling safe in your body or feeling safe in your circumstances or in your situation or in your surroundings. From our faith, many Christian women were taught that being good meant being agreeable, available, humble, transparent, and easy to access. So we could have learned that oversharing from trying to be a good Christian girl, good Christian woman. But wisdom isn't the same as total access. Jesus was loving and honest, but he was never frantic. He didn't perform for approval. He didn't overexplain himself or try to overexplain his worth. So let's take a look at how we can change how we see this, how we think about this. Our reframe, oversharing is often not a character flaw. It's a coping strategy. Coping strategies aren't shameful. They're clues. So once you learn or realize that you're doing this, I don't want you to feel ashamed or to condemn yourself. You might still feel it, but let your body feel it and then have compassion on yourself because you noticed it. I went through most of my life not knowing that I was doing it or why. And then when my son, my adult son now, told me that I overshare, that's where I started thinking about this and I realized what it was from. I analyzed myself and figured out what it was from and was so grateful that he does not overshare. Now, partly he gets that from his personality that he got from his dad, but he also feels safe. And apparently I grew up not feeling safe and having to explain myself because I was told I wasn't believed when I was 3 and 4. It was thought that I was a liar even though I was telling the truth. So I learned how to overexplain and overshare to try to basically present my case like I was in court every conversation for everything ever for the rest of my life since I was 3 and 4. And I don't know what happened to you or if this is anything similar has happened to you, but I am so glad that not only did my son point it out to me so that I could look to see what happened and heal it, and that I could explain it to you, but that he doesn't have that, and he grew up feeling safe, and so he doesn't have this problem. So the generational trauma did not perpetuate from me down to him. Praise God. I'm grateful for that. The coping strategies that we do, such as sharing too much or talking too much or explaining too much, tell us that we felt unsafe. Our nervous system learned to try to appease people. We can also dig deep and look and see what still needs healing. So instead of asking what's wrong with me, you can notice it and later on evaluate and start asking yourself, what happened to me that made this feel necessary? Now, we go through a process in my coaching program where I take my ladies through an exercise and we learn to find these things. And if you don't find it the first time, you can always go back, because you'll have the tools. Once you go through the program, you'll have the tools to go back and figure it out yourself later. That's one of the things that we go through so that we can start building our dream futures. Asking yourself, what happened to me that made this feel necessary, is a question that'll change everything. And you can journal about it, figure it out, get it healed, forgiven, and taken care of, and the Lord can show you how to start that healing process. So the root causes. What can drive oversharing? Let me share a few common root causes. Like I shared my story with you. You can also have chronic invalidation. You are not listened to unless you proved your case. Criticism or punishment. You learn to defend yourself quickly, like I did. Emotional neglect. You might have had to work hard to be noticed or understood. Boundary confusion is also one. You were expected to tell everything, or you were punished for privacy. Rejection sensitivity. You fear being misunderstood, so you pre-explain. And that also went along with what happened to me too. Anxiety. Silence feels unsafe. And it does for everyone, not just people who've gone through experiences like this. So if silence feels unsafe, you feel like you should fill it. And then there could be shame underlying. You believe the truth about you must be carefully managed. So sometimes it isn't just one big trauma. It could be a long pattern of small moments that taught the same lesson over and over, which is, I am safer when I keep talking. Let's do our lab experiment. Lab experiment number 11. Once you've learned to recognize it, so it won't happen at first. At first, you'll notice it after the fact. And then you'll have to go back, feel your feelings, and evaluate and try to go back over it and see where you could have stopped, where you could have stopped talking or stop explaining. But once you get good at noticing that you're doing it, you can start to do this lab experiment. Once you start noticing it, you can pause before you start spilling everything. It's called the pause protocol. Before you explain, justify, or tell the whole story, pause for a breath. Ask yourself, am I trying to be understood or trying to feel safe? And then decide, did they need the full story or just the answer? And then practice just telling one short sentence. So number 1, pause. Number 2, ask yourself, am I trying to be understood or trying to feel safe? Number 3, decide, do they need the full story or just the answer? And number 4, practice just saying one short sentence. If you're asked to do something and you feel like you need to justify it, justify your no. Here's some examples. You can say, I'm not able to do that. I need time to think about that. That doesn't work for me. I hear you. I'm not ready to go into all of that if someone's trying to ask you more than you want to share. You don't need to give the full documentary when a simple sentence will do. So there's some boundaries there that you can learn to protect too. The protocol this week, how healing happens. Healing oversharing usually looks like noticing the trigger, naming the fear, slowing your body down, tolerating a little more silence, practicing short, clean communication, building safety without performing for it. And you'd have to build safety from the Lord within yourself. Your safety won't come from outside of you, and it won't come from other people. It will have to come from within and with the Lord. You aren't trying to become cold. You're learning how to become clear. There's a difference between vulnerability and emotional flooding, and a difference between honesty and overexposure. There's a difference between connection and self-abandonment. And believe me, I'm still learning to not share as much as I am used to. Our lab report summary: if you overshare, overexplain, or talk yourself into exhaustion, you're not broken. You may be protecting yourself in the only way your nervous system learned how. You can learn new ways now. Be honest without being exposed. Be kind without overgiving. Be clear without apologizing for existing. And you can learn that. Most importantly, you do not need to explain your worth. If this episode felt like a mirror to you, save it, share it with a friend so that they can get some healing too. If you are interested in diving deeper and learning my process and finding healing and building the best future that you were created for, please set up a consult with me. The link is in the description or show notes down below. I can't wait to talk to you. Until then, keep your glitter goggles close and keep upgrading your life. The lab is open.
Thanks for joining me inside the Life Upgrade Lab. Experiments may get messy, but progress is still progress. If today's case file helped you, follow the show, leave a review, or share it with a friend who needs a fresh start. Until next time, keep your glitter goggles close and keep upgrading your life.